Dixon in the beautiful city of Conway, Arkansas. And you know what time it is. It is Wednesday Word time. So what is our Wednesday Word for tonight, Pastor Mobile? Our Wednesday Word tonight is marriage. And I thought I'd just start with our social media quote for tonight. Our social media quote, and I encourage you to write it in the comment section, perhaps put it on your social media platforms. But our social media quote is simply this: every marriage can be better. That's good teaching. Every marriage can be better. I don't care how good you feel about your marriage today, all of us have room for improvement. Every marriage can be enriched. I've been married 28 years, First Lady and I, and one thing I know for sure is this: bad marriages can become good marriages. Good marriages can become great marriages. And great marriages can become greater marriages. Why? Because every marriage can be better. So here's what I want to do in the limited amount of time we have tonight. I want to share with you 3 habits that lead to unhappy marriages. 3 habits that lead to unhappy marriages. Here's the first one. Too much screen time or TV will lead to an unhappy marriage. Too much screen time or TV. Please understand, the issue is not necessarily what you're doing while you're on Facebook, while you're on Twitter, or while you're on Instagram. It might not even necessarily be what you're watching on TV. The problem happens when you deny your partner valuable time and energy and attention in favor of connecting with your phone or TV. It's not really what you're doing while you're on your phone, what you're watching on the television. It's when you give your spouse leftovers of your time and your attention. I think we can all agree there is nothing worse than trying to have a conversation with a person who won't take their eyes off of their telephone or won't take their eyes off the TV screen. When these type of things happen, in the best case scenario, we become extremely irritated. But in the worst case scenarios, we become irritated, feeling ignored and rejected. Failing to make proper eye contact with your spouse when you're in a meaningful conversation speaks loud and clear that you're disinterested. It speaks loud and clear that you're either disinterested with the person or disinterested with the information, but it speaks loud and clear, I'm disinterested. And being disinterested in your spouse and what they have to say is one of the quickest ways to have an unhealthy and unhappy marriage. Now, in fairness, let me also say this. I'm not suggesting to your spouse that they should intentionally and maliciously choose moments to talk to you in the middle of a big game, or choose moments to talk to her when she's watching her favorite season finale. But what I am saying is this: when it's time to talk, put down your phones. When it's time to talk, turn away from the TV screen. I like the way the Bible encourages us in James chapter 1 and verse 19. James simply says, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Your word for today, if you want a happy marriage, be quick to listen to the opinions and concerns of your spouse. One of the quickest ways to have an unhealthy marriage and an unhappy marriage is too much screen or TV time. But then secondly tonight, one of the quickest ways to have an unhappy marriage is to ignore your problems. Yeah, ignore your problems. One thing I know for sure, there are no perfect marriages. We're all imperfect people living in an imperfect world. and we make mistakes and we get on one another's nerves, and we are individuals that have our own personalities and opinions. There are no perfect marriages. All of us have moments of conflict. All of us have problems and issues to work through. There are no perfect marriages. However, it is extremely dangerous in any marriage to be aware of a problem or to be keenly aware of an issue and have no motivation or desire to try to fix it. That's dangerous. When you have no motivation to fix or address the problems in your marriage, you're headed in the wrong direction. So what prevents us to be motivated to fix our problems? There are a lot of things, but a couple I'll mention to you today. Because for whatever reason, you feel like it's not worth the trouble. Not worth the trouble. What do you mean, Pastor Mobile? Somebody listening to me today can testify, Pastor Mobile, I don't address issues in our marriage anymore because of this. Whenever I talk to my spouse about how they make me feel, or how they have hurt me, or how they have belittled me or gotten on my nerves, they immediately apologize. And for 2 or 3 days, they change their behavior. But time and time again, they revert back to their old behavior. Once I finish being mad at them, they ultimately revert back to the same hurtful things. And after a while, I start saying, what's the use? And the truth of the matter is this: if you're a person that quickly apologizes but never changes, your marriage is headed in the wrong direction. Another reason that people avoid conflict in marriage is because they know if they bring up anything that you don't like, if they mention a weakness in your life, if they mention a way that you have hurt them, your number one reaction is anger. You get mad at them, you don't talk for 3 or 4 days, and nothing is ever resolved. And so many people say, you know what, it's not worth it. Because if I say something to them about it, all they're going to do is get mad, they're not going to change, and I'm going to have 3 or 4 days of total misery. But the truth of the matter is this: whatever your excuse is, or whatever your reason is, whether legitimately or not, when you ignore problems in your marriage, you're headed down the road to unhappiness. This is why Jesus says in Matthew 18 and 15, if your brothers and sisters sin, go and point out their fault just between the two of you. If they listen to you, you've won them over. Jesus says, if you got a problem with your spouse, address it with your spouse. Don't tell your best friend, don't tell your mama, don't tell your boys. Address it with them. Talk to them. Work it out between the two of you. I didn't post the scripture, but I will mention the next verse says, and if you can't work it out, find a mutual party that will be a person to help you work through it. So, if you're headed down the road to unhappiness, it's simply because, number one, you got too much screen or TV time. Number two, you're ignoring the problems in your marriage. And here's the last one, and I'm out of here. You become boring and predictable. Yeah. One of the quickest ways to lead to an unhealthy marriage is to become boring and unpredictable. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to be married to a stagnant, inactive spouse. All of us, regardless of our age or stage in life, should be growing and developing as an individual. In fact, all of us, regardless of our age or stage in life, should be growing and developing as a couple. Here's what I'm saying to you. Get off the couch, get off your phones, grab your spouse by the hand, and go have some fun. Proverbs 17 and 22 talks about a cheerful heart is good medicine. If you want your marriage to become better, learn to have fun together again. Here's my question. When the last time you guys had a good time together? Here's what I know about a good time when it comes to your spouse. It doesn't have to be overly expensive or extravagant. You just want to go out and make each other smile and make some good memories together. How do I keep from being boring and predictable, Pastor Maltby? Just a couple of things and I'm going to let you go. Number one, take the initiative sometimes. Don't always let your spouse be the planner. You take the initiative. You plan a date night. You plan a weekend activity. You plan who's going to babysit the kids. Take the initiative. Another thing I would suggest to you is this. Remember important dates. Hear me, fellas. Anniversaries and birthdays might not be that important to you, but they're extremely important to your spouse. Remember important dates. Here's another one. Engage in what I call random expressions of love. That means send them that "I'm thinking of you" text. That means call just to say "I love you" or "I'm thinking of you" or "I miss you." Give them small random gifts for no reason just because they're your spouse. But you need to take the initiative. And the last one, I'll just slip in there. Take the initiative in the bedroom. Don't be so boring and predictable. Our Wednesday word is marriage. Every marriage, and I do mean every marriage, can be better. Bad marriages can become good marriages. Good marriages can become great marriages. And great marriages can become greater marriages. Until we speak again, my friends, be blessed.